Hey everybody, how's it going? Hey Andy.
Hey,
Oh, we're
John.
both listed as John. Let me change your name. Hey, I fixed it. Nothing like doing things live. Hope everybody's doing all right out there. We're working out the kinks right now. We kind of made a lot of changes this time, which is always really risky, um, in live streaming. I like to change one thing at a time, but now I've got I redid my desk setup. So if you haven't noticed, I'm at a different angle now on my thing. So I had to rewire everything. So hopefully it all works good. I had to rebuild my home lab over the last week. So all new VMs this time. We'll see if Megan Bowen works properly. And then some new restream stuff as well. So hope you guys are doing good. Let me know in the chat if everything sounds good. If you can hear all right and where you're watching from. We'll display the comments on screen. How's your past month been, Andy?
Good. Busy. Busy but good. And that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Lots of changes. Hey,
yeah, me
Phil.
too. I announced yesterday on Yammer, and I guess I'll announce this one. This will be my last live stream as a Cerner associate. I'm going to be moving on to a new opportunity on March 28th. I'll be starting a new job at EY as a senior technology architect, and so that's where a lot of changes have been going on. I'm kind of unwinding things from one job to another, and doing all that. So big changes all around. Awesome. Looks like there's lots of people here. Phil, Chris, Jeremy, Ryan. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Ryan.
Wow,
All the
some
way from
folks
the West
from
Coast.
Washington. Yeah, California, Switzerland. It's early over there. Well, I guess it's 8 a.m. That's not too bad. I always assume that it's way earlier on
Right.
the West Coast than it's only 2 hours. It's not like, when I'm talking to Daryl Webster, he's in New Zealand and it's it's something like 9 hours ahead of me or something like that. So, which there's another announcement. If you haven't up, go to Teams Nation and sign up. That is going to be next Wednesday, the Teams Nation virtual conference. I'm going to be giving a talk there Daryl Webb's about virtual co-working spaces. So building co-working environments in Microsoft Teams. And we're going to be doing it 8 o'clock in the morning Central Time, which is going to be 3 o'clock in the morning for Daryl. So sign up and be sure to join our session to give Daryl some support for staying up so late. I wonder if he's going to be staying up late or getting up early. 3 o'clock is right in is right in the middle, man. That's rough. So Phil says it's a 12-hour difference for him when he calls.
So we got people checking in from
So
all
yeah.
over. As I'm looking through the list here, we got some on LinkedIn Live. We got some on YouTube. So really cool to see
Yeah.
how Restream is helping us to broadcast across all these various channels.
Yeah, where are we going today? We got YouTube, we've got your YouTube channel, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Yammer. So we're going to 5 places this time.
We're really
So that's
testing the
pretty
service
sweet.
out.
Yeah. And I'm watching on Yammer as well. If you guys are watching from Cerner's Yammer environment, let me know and I'll read the comments there as well. And as always, if you have a question as we go along, drop a comment, whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube or Yammer or wherever. Drop a comment. We'll see it in the captions over here, and then we can favorite things and add them on screen as we go along. So today, what we're going to be talking about, the topic is audio in Microsoft Teams, and that's a little bit broad, So to kind of narrow in, we were thinking this is what we didn't get to last month, where we were talking about sharing content. Well, part of sharing content is sharing music and sound effects and things like that. So we didn't get to it last time. We figured that it was a good cutoff to talk about visual content and then talk about audio content sharing the next month. So here we are in March. We're going to talk about specifically like sharing music or the audio for a video that you're sharing, or if you want to do sound effects in your live stream or in your team's meeting, how to do that, what the different options are. So, we're not going to dive into, you know, PST and calling or, things like that. That's technically audio, but, like this isn't about like VoIP calling or, E911 or something like that. It's inside your meetings. How do we get like music and some of that to kind of increase your engagement, make your team's meetings a little bit more substantial, entertaining if that's what you're going for, but at least a little bit more engaging, a little bit more fun to attend. So, um, so yeah, it looks like everything is running good. That's working well. So the use cases that I came up with for why we would want to worry about like putting music in or sound effects or things like that, I've kind of got three main types of audio that I would want to share inside of a meeting. The first one is fairly obvious. If you want to play a video in a meeting, so whether it's a YouTube video or Microsoft Stream video or something that's embedded inside of a PowerPoint, you're going to need audio coming into that meeting as well, just for video playback. It's probably the most common thing. And then a little bit more advanced, I I do a lot of like music sharing inside of meetings. And the use case I use that for is one, live events, if you're doing like Teams live events or something like that. But inside of meetings, it's really helpful for classes. If you're teaching a class, maybe you're doing 365 adoption or any type of training, and you want to play music beforehand, as people are kind of coming into the meeting, maybe you want to put like a "we'll get started soon" PowerPoint slide up and just play some like chill music in the background. Or a lot of times, say it's like a 4 hour long meeting and you want to have breaks in between, you could put a 10-minute timer up and then you could play music behind that timer if you wanted to. And then the other thing that helps me out whenever I'm like teaching a class and it's kind of dry or it's like a really long class is adding things like sound effects. Like if I call for questions, I can throw like crickets up on, and hopefully you guys are hearing that. Or if I say something and or somebody like stumps me in a chat, I can do like a whoosh noise because it went over my head. Things like that, just to kind of add a little bit your your environment whenever you're doing training, or just even in meetings if you need like a little bit of a little bit of extra, whenever somebody shows something cool, you can do that. But um Andy, what are your use cases for like music and sound effects inside of meetings?
Training, training, and more training. I deliver multiple live webinars every single week for training scenarios.
Hmm.
I do live broadcasts like we're doing here a few times a month. I do user group meetings. And so it's just to, uh, like in some cases, break up the monotony of the meeting. For one, the most important thing is people being able to clearly hear what I'm talking about. I tend to think about webinars in two scenarios. There are people that
Hmm.
are there, they're actively engaged, they're watching the screen and they're participating. And then there are people that are there and they're passively engaged. And most of the time, if they're passively engaged, they're listening. So you need to be
Hmm.
very descriptive. You need to be clear and articulate. And, when there's something important coming up, you need to be able to grab their attention and let them know about that thing. So I tend to think like when I'm doing a virtual training, it's really going to be in two areas. It's going to be like a video based recording, but it's also going to be kind of
Hmm.
podcast like. And so audio is a big part of that podcast experience. I mean, that drives the entire thing. And then I always want to. I like to tinker. I'm a software guy. I like to tinker. I like to find a new piece of technology and see how I can apply it in a different way. And a while back, I want to say like maybe 2020, um, I saw a post that you had made that also referenced Tracy Vandersnife about creating a
Yeah.
lobby in Microsoft Teams where you have a little bit of video playing, you have a little bit of audio, and then you have like some text to tell people, hey, we're going to get started soon. Audio and video is working. If you can hear this and if you can see this. And I'm like, that is brilliant. Why doesn't Teams
Mm-hmm.
have a waiting room built into it or a lobby with those things already built
Yeah.
into it? So that we don't have to go through, can you hear me? Can you see me? Has the presentation started? So I started doing those things for like my user group and then some of the trainings, and the feedback's
Mm-hmm.
been really, really good for that. And then some of the other audio stuff just kind of evolved as I changed microphones and
Mm-hmm.
started like working with new, different hardware. And then some of that hardware had some really cool things that you could do with software, and so I started
Mm-hmm.
implementing that. And so, now we have, how far can we take this, and can we insert sound effects? And, there's like a whole
Mm-hmm.
like rabbit hole you can go down with that. And so that's been really fun to kind of expand off of that. So the main use case for me, though, it just deals with training, trying to keep it fresh,
Yeah.
try to keep it interesting, keep people engaged, throw something new at them. And then one last thing, the audio piece, because I do so much training around the Microsoft world, constantly recording videos. I've taken some of the live stream stuff and put that into my
Mm-hmm.
recordings, and that helps me with post production. So, like, I've got one
Yeah.
workshop that I do for 365 EduCon, and it's business process automation with Power Apps and Power Automate. And I've turned that into kind
Mm-hmm.
of a workshop where it's me talking to a cloud service. I chose to go with Azure as the cloud service that I was talking to, and so I found a way to take text and turn that to a voice through Azure services. And so I recorded that, and then I inserted into some of my materials, but I also inserted into a tool we're going to talk about today. And so when I'm recording, I say what I have to say for my part of the script, and then I hit a button
Mm-hmm.
and Azure talks to me, and then I can reply, and then Azure talks to me, and I capture all of that in the recording. And it's one take for me to do all of this versus hours of post
Yeah.
production and syncing everything up. So that was an extra benefit of some of these things.
Awesome. Yeah, to kind of add on to what you said about like the tech check thing, that's super helpful. And Ryan put that in the chat as well, that having music before your meeting is super nice, especially if you kind of, there's meetings and then there's like a little bit more planned, more formal, more official meetings, right? Where like you're responsible for an agenda and stuff like that. In those types of meetings, you don't want anything to go wrong, right? You don't want to have to like, can everybody hear me okay? Can everybody see my screen? Those types of things that everybody asks those questions. Um, and me, you, and Ryan, we've discovered that, by having like a pre-show, like a "we'll get started soon" type of thing, it really is helpful, because then you don't have to get the question of "can everybody hear me?" And then the pre-show also helps a lot with the countdown timer, because then it eliminates the question of, are we starting soon? When are we going to get started? If you have a countdown timer, whether it's in PowerPoint or even just going to Google and searching for a countdown timer, um, having that on screen with some music playing gives people the expectation of when the meeting is going to start. And it lets them know that they can see what's going on because you have movement, right? A timer is going down, and they can hear, they know their audio is working because they can hear music. So you eliminate like the top three questions right off the bat if you do a pre-show before your meeting. And yeah, if we have time, we can talk about like what our pre-shows are for our meetings and show like what we've done in OBS.
Actually, I do my pre-shows in PowerPoint. We
Oh, do
do
you?
most of our meetings are
Oh, yeah, because you were
Teams-based.
talking about Tracy's video. Yeah.
Yeah. So I use PowerPoint for a lot of my pre-show stuff. I can show that as part of a presentation later. But the cool thing about it is, because we do a lot of meetings in Teams, I can do it in PowerPoint Live, and that
Hmm.
minimizes the latency whenever I'm broadcasting it. Everybody joins in the meeting, can take advantage of that. So it's really just streamlines that entire experience.
Yeah. So to dive in, we've kind of got like what we got here. We're like one, two, three, four, five different sections that we want to talk about today. So the first is talking about system audio and all the options around using the system audio checkbox. The second being virtual microphones and all the options for creating a virtual microphone that you can select. that's going to be the section where we talk about music mode. Phil, I see I starred your comment about music mode through Road Connect. That's what we're going to talk about, is using those virtual microphones and then increasing it with music mode inside of Microsoft Teams. We'll show you guys how to turn that on and what you can expect out of it. Third, I want to talk about where do we get music and sound effects. What services do we use? What do we like? What's out there, especially what's out there that's free that you can use. And then we'll talk about some hardware options. So we'll move like from doing it all within one single computer to what about adding additional hardware like switchers and things like that, and using that as your audio source. And then we'll round out with a quick update on NDI. It's not necessarily for music and sound effects in a meeting, but there's some updates to how Teams NDI works that might help you out if you're worried about being able to control audio that's coming out of a Teams meeting for a live event. So I forgot to share my screen in this. So let me let me go here and share my screen. Oh no, this is my first time opening Google Chrome on this computer here. So it's asking for screen recording stuff. Okay, hopefully this works. I hope I don't have to allow screen recording for this browser. Oh my gosh.
So I'm going through that same issue, but I haven't updated machines and it's not letting me share my
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah, mine's saying can't share your screen through here. Let's see if I can share just a window. Update system permissions. Okay, so let me go in here and fix this real quick. Hopefully I don't have to restart Chrome, because otherwise you guys are gonna drop out for like 30 seconds. Okay, permissions. It's gonna be tough if I can't share my screen. Screen recording. Yeah, I see Google Chrome is checked. I did
Same.
get like a system update recently to like 11.4.6 or something like that. So I'm going to do that. All right, I am going to quit Chrome and try to come back in while we're live. Hopefully this isn't going to kill the stream.
I wish you
I'll
luck.
see you in a
'Cause it did
second.
not work for
Yeah.
me at the beginning of the this episode. So
Okay.
we'll see you on the
Awesome.
other side.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we're going to give John a moment to restart. We're using restream.io to broadcast. So it's a web based platform, and we both just log into it. And then it allows us to input our audio, input our video, and share screens. But you can also insert a whole bunch of assets. Like, for example, we can pre upload videos like this one. And so we're able to do all kinds of fun things with it, but they update the service and it's a browser-based service. And they may have made an update here recently, and it's causing some issues with our screen share. So we're going to get this figured out. But in the meantime, we will carry on. Looks like John is back.
I'm back. Can you hear
And
me okay?
you're able to share.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, that was pretty good. So testing things live again. I was able to quit Chrome, which was like, hey, bro, you're live streaming right now. I quit Chrome. I went back in to restream, and it was like, hey, you have an event live. Here's what it looks like. I entered Studio, and I'm
Right back.
back. So it didn't drop the actual event off. So
Interesting. So I
Rice is
did the
by
same
John.
thing prior to us starting.
Good
That's why I
grief.
dropped off while the intro video was playing
Mhm.
and returned, but it's still not allowing me to do the screen sharing. So
Oh, yeah. You might have to try again. So what I did is I went in my Mac to the preferences under
yep,
security preferences.
privacy.
I I unblocked screen recording. I unchecked Google Chrome. I said later. Then I rechecked it and said I'll restart later. And then I went and quit Chrome completely, reopened it, went back into Restream. So you might try like toggling it off and back on
Yeah.
and then reboot
Oh, turn
Chrome.
it off and turn it
So
back on.
yeah, right. So if you want to do that, go ahead, and then we'll be able to both share.
All right, here we go. I'm going to try it. I'll see you on the other side.
That's like your worst fear during a live stream, like all this like crazy stuff that happens. And we've had audio issues in the past. We've had now screen issues in the current live stream, but hey, it seemed to work pretty good. So that's awesome. So I've got my screen up. I want to start with talking about sharing system audio in a Microsoft Teams meeting. This is also why it's so great to have me and Andy doing this, because like I had this problem. Andy could pick up. I can start talking whenever Andy's not here, and Andy's back now, and hopefully his audio. We'll see if he can hear him in a second. Hopefully his screen pops up here as well.
Yeah,
but I've got my Katoso environment all set up with my home lab with Megan Bound, and we're going to talk about sharing system audio. Did that work, or you still got that banner that says you can't share?
It's still giving me that banner.
Okay.
That's fine. We'll just drop through your screen,
well, that's a bummer.
and I'll send you links and things in the chat as needed.
Okay, that sounds good.
If you do a meeting in Teams
I
can share through the team.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can share through the team. Another thing we could do is if you start up your virtual camera, you could do OBS, I guess, and share that way. If you want to do that, I'll spotlight you and we can share your screen. We'll figure this out. We could work around anything. Unless like Restream completely goes down, which
We've
is not
done
likely.
this before. Yeah, actually, I just did the virtual cam, so I will take advantage of that.
Awesome. So, talking about system audio sharing, this is not something that you have to turn on inside of Teams. It's just available in all of your Teams meetings. But whenever you share your screen or a window, you can share the audio from your computer into that meeting as well. And I want to show you like how we do that from the system sharing tray. So we're going to set up a new meeting here for Megan. We're going to invite everybody because I forgot to do this beforehand. So we're going to do audio in Teams demo. And then I think Andy is going to be Adele in this situation.
Actually, can you
we'll just have a meeting. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Skilltech.com. So we'll send it to Andy. There we go. And I'll send it to my Cerner one as well, just in case, but I probably won't join from there because that's not the right ring. So we've got a meeting here. I'm going to expand it out to like 2 hours, give us enough buffer space, and we'll send that off. That's going to create a Teams meeting for me to join here in about 5 seconds. And there we go. So we're going to join this meeting and kind of prep as if like, during the course of the meeting, we are going to share like a YouTube video and we want people to hear the audio as well. So Megan's going to come in here. New lab. I got new fake video people here. So this is Megan Bowen went through a big change. She's a completely different person because I couldn't find that same video webcam anymore. I get all my fake like looping video webcam samples like this. I get them from unsplash.com because that's like a free website and you can filter by videos. So I searched for like webcam talking person or something like that and found a whole bunch of things that look like somebody in a meeting. So Megan's going to share her screen, say that she's going to like share a YouTube video during her stand up. Hey guys, I saw this funny video. So she can share either her screen or a window. It works either way. But what she wants to do first is turn on this include computer sound up in the upper corner. So if you've turned that on, oh my gosh, make sure that you have a connected mic and speaker. Okay, well, let me fix that real quick inside of RDP. So let me edit this. I'm going to pass through my speaker and my microphone so that it actually works. So we'll save that and then we'll disconnect and reconnect to Megan. There we go. Hopefully this is going to work now. So we'll go into the device settings and get her a microphone and speaker. I got my camera. Oh, I didn't do the speaker portion. That's why it's complaining. I'll just show you guys what I'm doing here. So yeah, under devices and audio, I got to do the microphone, the camera, and redirect the computer sound. I'll just play it on the remote PC because I don't want to hear that through my speakers. And then we probably need to leave the meeting, quit Teams, and just come back in. And then we'll be able to show this a little bit better. Okay, bye Teams. Okay, Teams is booting up here. Do you have any new comments? Don't see any. Okay, so Megan is back into Teams. Let's go ahead and launch this meeting again. And hopefully we've got audio this time. All right, let's join the meeting here.
This is very real world experience for joining a Teams meeting and kicking things off.
Yeah, it's not very often though, like doing it from a remote computer, you know. Why is it not reconnecting or redirecting my microphone through here? Yeah, I don't have any sound devices apparently. Dang it. Okay, let's try with my speaker through here on this laptop, on this computer. Reconnect. Hopefully we don't have to like reboot this Windows computer to make it work. Okay, now I have a speaker icon down there in the corner. I see remote audio and remote audio for the input as well. And okay, cool. So she has a microphone. Yay. But that's not Megan. There's Megan. All right, let's join this meeting now. Goodness gracious. Okay, so Megan's in this meeting, in the meeting with Andy here, and she's going to go in and share content. Remember, if you want to hear the audio from your computer into the meeting, if you want the participants to hear that, then you're going to want to turn on this toggle first up here in the top corner for include computer sound, and then go ahead and share your screen. So now Megan is sharing her screen, and if she goes into any kind of video or plays back anything, you should be able to hear that on the other side. And Andy, I found a surprise video. I was trying to think of like what I should do for seeing if you can hear the audio in the meeting. And I think the best one is the Screaming Cowboy song. Because I played this in my stand-up here a little bit ago. Did that thing say 64 million views on there? So this is playing through. I hear it in my headphones. Do you hear that right now through the Teams meeting? Or your audio is probably not even working? But yeah, so this should be playing the Screaming Cowboy song through. There we go. There you go. You're welcome, Andy.
Yep, coming through loud and clear.
Awesome. So, and you can even toggle this in the process of sharing by going up to the top of your window. If you mouse up to the top, you'll get this little toolbar right here. And the toggling for sharing computer sound is this button right here where it's like the monitor with a little speaker on it. So if I were to turn that off and there's a line through it now, Andy wouldn't be able to hear the Screaming Cowboy song. But if I go back in, so if you forgot, and like you're in the process of playing this video and you're like, man, nobody can hear it. People are saying they can't hear it. I would just go up to the top, toggle that back on, and then now he can hear the cowboy screaming in his ear.
And we should point out we're using the desktop version of Microsoft Teams, and John's on a Mac, but he's doing this through Windows. This works on both Windows and Mac. This was updated back in August of 2021 to include the audio through the Mac. So that works on the desktop, but we should also point out that the roadmap had this being updated for use in the web browser as well. So you should be able to play it not only in the desktop version of Teams, but also in the web browser version of Teams, also on both
upcoming
Windows and Mac.
Yeah, so I've got like a little table here. If we go, actually, let's build this real quick here in PowerPoint, so we can have a visual for everybody to see. So what I want to get to in like what works where for sharing system audio is we've got there's the app, the Teams application, the Teams website, and then Teams on your phone. Those are kind of like the locations where you might want to share audio from. But then we've also got what type of content are we sharing? There's your screen, there's a window, and then there's PowerPoint Live. I get a lot of questions about, hey, do I need to toggle this thing on for PowerPoint Live? So let's do like a 3x4 table here. And we've got, actually, I need to insert something in the beginning here. We'll add a new first column. So if I'm sharing my screen, if I'm sharing a window, or if I'm sharing PowerPoint Live content, and then if I'm doing it in the Teams app, so we'll say actually desktop app, right? So desktop app, the web browser version, and then the other one is Teams audio or Teams mobile, sorry. So insert to the right. Yeah. Teams mobile app. So what we've done here is we've proved that it works if you share your entire screen, right? So we can take that, we can put a works in there, so we'll declare that one works. Actually, let's shade this one as green. So desktop app, sharing your screen, you hear the audio. Going through now, let's do if Megan shares her window and includes audio with it. So she's going to go select the window. She's going to select the Screaming Cowboy YouTube video, and she's going to include computer sound. You see that even though you're in the window area for selecting a window in Microsoft Teams, you can include computer sound. So she can go through. She's now just sharing that one window, not the entire screen, because you see the red right here, this red box. It goes just to the bottom of the window. It doesn't include the taskbar. And now if I go back a little bit, hopefully you'll hear this, Andy. Awesome. We got a thumbs up from Andy. So he can, this is the craziest video.
Stuff of nightmares.
So we've confirmed now that you can share your window with Teams audio and play like a YouTube video or play, audio inside of a PowerPoint or something like that. Now, when it comes to PowerPoint Live, you actually don't need to use that toggle. I mentioned that like this is a question I get all the time is, hey, I'm going into the share tray right here, and I'm going to share this PowerPoint slide deck. Do I need to also include computer sound and then share the slide deck, or will people not hear the video that's embedded inside of a slide? That is not the case. So you don't have to toggle anything on. If you have a video inside of a PowerPoint Live presentation, when you share that through PowerPoint Live, people will be able to hear it from the native player that's built into PowerPoint Live. So across the bottom, we really can make all of these green, with the caveat that it's not needed. Not needed. Not needed. So because that is a function of what's in the file, what's actually inside of the slide deck. We got a question from Chris Smith here. So when sharing a window, not screen, and you check the included computer sound, will it send audio just from that window or app, or sounds from other apps? That's a great question, Chris. That's a really good thing to test. So let's try that. I'm going to share PowerPoint to Andy, and then I'm going to play the YouTube video in the background, and then we'll see, just like Outlook dings and stuff like that come through. So let's go ahead and share that. We're going to share just a window, including computer sound. What do you think it's going to do, Andy? You think it's going to be everything or just the PowerPoint sounds?
1 second. I'm hoping it's going to do the audio and not the other sounds from the app.
Yeah, you're hoping that it's just what would be coming through PowerPoint and not the background stuff?
Yep.
Okay, that would be my hope. My guess is it's probably going to do the entire computer sound through, because it said include computer sound. So here you go. Do you hear the cowboy right now?
Hold on 1 second. Yep.
Did you hear it?
Hear the cowboy.
Yeah. Yeah. So it wasn't what we hoped. It was what we expected. Is that it plays the entire full system audio. It sounds like Ryan has tried this before, because Ryan says, hey, it's full system audio whenever you do that. So that answers your question, Chris. Even if you're doing a window, it's going to be everything on your computer. Now, when we get into the next section here after system audio and we talk about virtual microphones, that's where you can get like a virtual mixer set up, and you can send specific applications through that virtual microphone. That's where, like, I really like the virtual microphone perspective, because then I don't have to worry about if I toggled something on, and I can control exactly what goes through. So, and we'll talk about that. Yeah, no problem. I like this live testing thing. That's why we do this live, is so that we can do the Q&A and we can be like, hey, I don't know. Let's see what happens.
We just got Malkovich.
This is fun stuff.
Yeah, we just got Malkovich on that one. All our hopes, all of our dreams from Rounders.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to temper your expectations, and like, here's what I hope, but here's probably what the reality is that, I did the whole computer. Maybe that's something for the future that Microsoft can work on. So PowerPoint Live, it's not needed. Now, when we go over to a web browser version, so I'm going to leave this meeting. I'm out of here, and instead we're going to go to Teams in a web browser, and we're going to see what's possible from Teams in a web browser with system audio, so that native, built-in Teams functionality. It's taking a little while. I don't want the Windows app. I want to go to the web. Thank you. Hopefully I spec'd these VMs right. I gave her 12 CPUs and 16 gigs of RAM, or 12 cores. Okay.
But are they M1 cores?
So, do what?
Are they M1 cores?
No, they are old HP cores from a server in my basement that is screaming loud right now because it's just running super hot. But man, it's so nice. I'm so glad that I invested the time and energy and everything into building out a home lab so that we can test these things out. That helps me so much in in your job as an architect to be able to recreate in a clean environment. So you can say, yes, this is how this works, or no. Or if Microsoft is bringing out something and they want people to test it, we have the ability to, test and give them good, clean feedback. So she's going to go in here. We're going to mute her microphone, and Megan's going to join. She doesn't need her camera on or anything like that, but she's going to share again. She can share her screen or PowerPoint Live. Again, PowerPoint Live, you're not going to need to toggle any kind of system audio because the audio in the file is what people will hear. So we're going to go to desktop and window instead. And you can see here, entire screen. I do not have the option to share audio. In the window option, I also don't have the ability to share audio. But if I go to a Microsoft Edge tab, in some websites, you'll see a checkbox for sharing system audio. But in Teams, currently, we don't have that capability. So my expectation is that whenever Teams updates, then you would be able to share that. So I'm just going to share that tab, and then I'll play the music. Andy, tell me if you can hear it. You hear anything?
No.
Yeah. So we're not getting any kind of sharing. But what I found yesterday was that on the roadmap, is it roadmap.office? Yes. Okay. Is that on the roadmap? It's slated to be coming really soon. So system audio, if we go through here, upcoming. So if you're marking your roadmaps here and following along, 84.175. It's going to be rolling out in April that you'll be able to share audio into a Teams meeting from the web browser. And Phil just beat me to it. I just saw Phil said, hey, it's rolling out or it's coming soon. So I see it right now as it's in the status of in development. So it might be in the earlier rings at this point. But as far as GA, hopefully we're hoping for April 2022. So I think on our slide deck, we could probably, and this is what I normally do whenever I'm like trying to figure this stuff out, with like somebody asks me a question. I'll say like, okay, so this is yellow because it's not yet, but it's coming soon. And we'll do like that. And we'll say coming April 2022, and then roadmap ID, then paste in that roadmap ID, or what was it, 841175. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, we'll have that ability soon. And then they say specifically that its users in a Teams meeting will get it while they're sharing screens. They don't mention if it's an Edge tab or if it's a window. So I think what we can probably say is we don't know, but hopefully. So I think I probably would mark that as like red, because like I think it's one of those like I'm hopeful, but I don't know that I can expect it because specifically Microsoft says it's going to be for screen sharing. So it might be a nice surprise, but if we go update this in April, hopefully we'll see both of those turn green. And then on mobile, I believe this should be there as well. I wonder if I can share my mobile phone in Reflector. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, so screen sharing, John's MacBook Pro. Probably get a code will come up here in a second. Maybe. Yeah, where's my code? 8312. We're going to get my phone up on screen. Yes, I want to remember this device and show it. And of course, it did a whole thing, a whole virtual desktop on my Mac. So what I want to do is I want to switch over to Contoso. We're going to move this over to this side. And then reflector, I need to make this not show full screen over here on reflector. So no frame. Preferences. Always on top. Connection. Fill screen. Default scale. Display full screen. Uncheck that. Okay. My monitor's like freaking out on me. Oh boy. All right, let's disconnect from reflector because it got mad at me. It's like spasm. Okay. John's MacBook Pro. We'll get this thing as a floating phone. Yes, I want to remember. There we go. We got it just as a windowed device here. There we go. So Megan's got her phone. We're logged in as Megan Bowen, marketing manager. And then the audio in Teams, and this is kind of nice. It says, hey, you're in a meeting right now. This is in progress. Do you want to join it? That's that better together mode that we have on iOS. So I'm going to go ahead and tap join. And then I'm just going to add this device to the existing. Yeah, companion mode is like one of the features. I think they originally called it like better together. Is like your other devices will recognize when you're in a meeting. And then they originally called this companion mode too, if you remember, Andy, where it was like, hey, you can join from your phone and then you can use it as an external camera. Because I can go in here, I can tap the dots, and then I'm going to tap the share button right here at the top. And I could share a photo, a PowerPoint. This is PowerPoint Live. If I select share a PowerPoint, then I can do that Northwind proposals presentation, and I could share that as PowerPoint Live. I can swipe to go to the next screen, all that cool stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to select sharing a screen, which is going to broadcast this phone screen into the meeting. And you'll notice here on iOS, at least, the audio toggle. So I can toggle on system audio. Then I can share the screen and it's going to say, hey, you're broadcasting Microsoft Teams. I'm going to start broadcast. Now it's not going to let me because I'm doing reflector. So let's get rid of this. It's going to go away. So I'm going to stop mirroring. I'm going to go back and I'm just going to tell you I'm going into share, turning on system audio, sharing my screen, start broadcast. And then now if I go through, I wonder if this is going to show up in my Teams window. Yeah, so there's my phone inside of the Teams meeting, right? I can go in there. I can go into YouTube now, and then I can just pick like something random, or I can go to screaming cowboy song, and then we could do that. So do you hear that? I just heard it in my headphones too. So there we go. We've got the screaming cowboy, and it kind of comes like 2 seconds later through the Teams meeting. Okay, pause that. That is the most obnoxious thing ever. So then I can tap on the little red pill, hit stop to stop broadcasting, and now I've pulled my phone back out of the meeting. So I think we can go in here, Andy, and we can say that this works for sharing your screen from a phone in a Teams meeting. And if I go back in here, the thing I'm wondering about, what about a window? Because I believe on iOS anyway, somebody who has Android, correct me if I'm wrong. If this works on Android, let me know. But I believe that you can't share just a single application into a meeting, or you can't broadcast just a single application. So if I go back into my phone and I hit share up at the top, I can share PowerPoint, a photo, which would be from my photo library, a video, which would be my camera. So I could wirelessly like point it at something and show somebody physically something. My whole screen, not a window, or a whiteboard, which again is a function of Teams. It's going to do a Microsoft whiteboard. So I think we would have to say, that it's not applicable, right?
Right.
So we'll go ahead and stop mirroring. I don't think I'm going to share my phone anymore. So I think, yeah, that's going to be a red mark, and we'll say like can't share a single app from a phone. And that's kind of the caveat there. So, most of these boxes are green. When you're going to go into sharing system audio, you can do it from most situations in here. You do have a lot of flexibility. Hopefully, we'll see this one turn green in April, and then if we're lucky, maybe we'll see the middle one turn green too. But I'm not holding my breath because they specifically said sharing a screen in Windows or from a web browser.
And I just want to emphasize a few things about companion mode. I cannot tell you how valuable that is because it handles a number of scenarios. One of the biggest issues that I have in the organization I work with is people join a Teams meeting, but for some reason the audio is not working. Either they're joining the meeting through Teams devices on the other end of a VPN, so it's not connecting to the local audio, or they're just having system problems. The quickest and easiest way to get audio for a Teams meeting, if you're having problems, is to use companion mode. Open up your phone, join the meeting, add the device, and then use that device for the audio component. And then you can still use the desktop or laptop that you're on in order to do the video or the screen sharing or the interactive piece. But in companion mode, not only do you get that audio, you can chat and participate in the conversation. You can share content like you just showed. You can use the camera and point it at a whiteboard in the room and broadcast that. It'll take advantage of both the front-facing and rear-facing camera on the device. You can switch back and forth. It's so handy. I use it quite a bit now, but that's the biggest piece of advice I have. If you're having audio problems with the laptop or desktop, use companion mode and pull the audio through there.
Yeah. My favorite thing about the new companion mode, if you guys haven't seen it yet, it's rolling out currently for at least iOS and I think Android. My favorite thing about companion mode personally is the reactions. You get that the strip of reactions across the top, and I can just quickly like throw reactions at the meeting. I really like that because it's not hidden under another button like it used to be. I think I really like the new layout and everything. I'm a big geek for like UI design, and I feel like it's a really nice, clean way to kind of get to your most used functions from your phone whenever you're in a meeting. So I'm a huge fan of companion mode. Before we move on from sharing system audio, there's a pro tip that Andy put in the show notes here is about an echo. Now there's something that you might run into is you don't want to end up causing an echo whenever you are sharing your system audio and you have your microphone turned on at the same time. So the pro tip is to either mute your microphone, mute your speakers, or wear headphones whenever you're going to anticipate that you're going to be doing sharing system audio, because what'll happen is if it's playing out of a speaker and then also playing in the Teams meeting, you're going to end up with an echo that's like slightly offset. So it's going to be like this reverberation sounding echo between like the time it takes to render through the microphone and then send through the audio. It's like a fraction of a second, but it's enough that it's going to drive everybody crazy. So I think my recommendation would be to either mute your microphone when you're going to share audio, or better yet, use headphones. If you're going to be in a meeting, especially where you're going to be sharing content, always put some kind of headphones in so that so you don't get even echo from another person talking. I would recommend just, not even relying on, I got this speaker puck and it's got this AI built into it that does noise suppression. I don't trust that to software. I want to just have it in my ear. That way there's no possibility of my microphone feeding back into the meeting and causing an issue. So
I typically mute. Yeah, if like I'm doing a PowerPoint
mhm.
live, and then just mute whenever I'm playing a video, and then unmute and go on.
Yeah, as a general rule of thumb, yeah, Ryan put in here, use the same device for speaker and microphone. So if it's like your MacBook, like built-in microphone and speaker, generally that works. I still would advise against it if you're going to share system audio, because then there's some kind of sound that is coming from outside of the meeting. There's some kind of other sound that gets introduced into the mix, and you can't really expect teams to like suppress that noise. And there's a high chance you're going to end up with an echo if you did something like that. So uh, beware of that. I always say headphones, but I know there's a lot of people who are anti headphones in meetings. They want to just use a speaker because they think they're super important or something. They don't want to look like a nerd. So moving
And yet,
on
all
to
the
the second
professionals
thing.
on their podcast use headphones.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I've had a lot of executives over the past years, like they want to use a speakerphone because they don't want to have like the boom microphone in front of them. They think they look like an air traffic controller. First of all, an air traffic controller has your life in their hands whenever you're flying for all your fancy corporate trips. So have a little bit more respect for the air traffic controller. Second, everybody on CNN and MSNBC and all the news channels, when there's millions of people watching, they got those Apple
In-ear
white
monitors.
earbuds flying out of there, hanging down, and they're fine. You're not talking in front of millions of people on CNN. You're just doing a sales call in front of like 5 clients. Put your headphones in, and you're non-verbally telling your participants that you respect them enough to care about their audio experience. Don't worry about so much about what you look like. Um, just don't cause an echo. There's my soapbox and getting a little bit fired up here. Yeah, always use a headset. Just think about what your audio experience that you want to get out of it and match your device to what you need it to do. So moving on from sharing system audio, the built-in version, now to kind of geek out a little bit at the 1 hour mark, what about virtual microphones? There's a whole category now of virtual microphones. That's what Andy and I have both been using to add things into this live stream, like the Mario mushroom, the Zelda, hey, listen, stuff like that. I'm doing this by having my audio split up into multiple tracks or multiple channels and then sent through as a virtual microphone. Um, we've talked in the past, and Andy uses this a lot more than I do, virtual cameras and having like an OBS running in the background so that you can run that virtual camera as your webcam and replace the webcam. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to replace your microphone with a virtual version of your microphone so that we can add more spice to the audio. Now, the thing that I use, I don't necessarily recommend it for all people because it requires some hardware. So I think the first thing to talk about, Andy, is probably what you use, which is Road Connect. Do you want to share what your Road Connect looks like, or should we just try to install it on Megan's computer? What do you think?
Let's share it, and then we'll install it and go from there.
Okay,
So
cool. Do you want to switch like your OBS cam? All
yeah.
right, let's put you up on screen big there.
All right.
Cool. I
So
can see
here
it.
I am. This is my desktop. Hold on one second. It's mirrored for me, and it's like making me crazy. All right.
It was
So
backwards.
yeah. So this is you're seeing my desktop right now, and this is the setup that I'm actually running. So a couple of things. I've got system over here, and in system, I'm just going to pull up sound because I have an input and an output that I have to maintain. So this is where the audio input is coming from. Now you'll notice I've got a whole bunch of different devices listed here. I got the built-in microphone. I use my AirPods quite a bit. I've got the headphones that I'm in now. These are the Bose Q something 35s. They have a microphone built into them. So I've got a bunch of different inputs
Mhm.
in here. And then there's a couple that I just want to point out. This is the main microphone that I use. This is the hardware microphone, and I'll try to bring that into well, you can't really see it, but it's the Rode NT USB Mini, and that's what got me on the Rode Connect software was that microphone. And then the one that I'm actually using today is a hardware mic. It's the Rode Wireless Go 2. It's a wireless unit. It's a little guy like this, and I've just got a little lavalier right here, and I'm
Mhm.
just connected wirelessly into my computer. But I got a couple others here. I've got NDI audio. That's network device interface. That'll actually let me go from computer to computer on the same network, which is really cool. And then down here, I've got the down here, I've got the Rode um, devices, all of my different um, Rode, um, the stream, the system, and the virtual. But it's all being powered
Mhm.
by the Rode Connect software, which is this little guy right over here. So this allows me to set up my inputs, and I can have 4 different inputs in here. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 different Rode microphones that this supports currently. So I've got my NT USB Mini. I've got my Wireless Go actually has 2 of these little receivers,
Oh,
so
there's
I
2
can
transmitters?
yeah, 2 transmitters. So,
Nice.
like, I can have one for me, and I can give one to somebody else, and, I've tested this, at SharePoint Fest of Chicago, me and my buddy Daniel Christian, and I walked probably, like, 300 yards across the conference center, and the signal was still coming through loud and clear. It was crazy. So
That's
it's really
awesome.
cool. And you don't even
Now,
need, like, the lavalier. You can just use this as your lavalier. You can just, clip it to your collar, or you can just hold it in your hand and talk like this. It's really cool. But
a
so I've got
question
2 of
I have,
those.
Andy, before I forget, can you control the gain on each of those wireless Go transmitters, or is it like the same no matter what?
It's
Like if somebody has like a really quiet voice and a loud voice?
I'll show you on the next screen. It's coming right up.
Okay,
But yeah, I
nice.
can put four separate hardware mics in here, and then over here I can control them. So this is my NT USB,
Okay.
which is currently muted. I'm not using it. This is the wireless lavalier that I'm currently using, and then this is the other one that I'm not using. So you can control them independently of one another. You can have both of them, both
Mm,
both of them go into the same receiver, but then it splits it into 2 separate units in the software, so I can control both of them independently of one another. So the gain and everything. And then I've got my system audio right here. So this allows me to input into from the system, like the actual system sounds, and if I play a video on YouTube and whatnot. And then there's a virtual input as well. And then lastly, I got my sound effects over here. So this is where if I want to, play, let's just go for it.
Here we go!
So I can insert custom sound effects, or I can use some defaults or some out of the boxes, and that's all built into the software. Now,
mhm,
I learned about this because of the NT USB Mini microphone. This was software that they suggested that you download. It's free. You just pay for the
mhm.
microphone, and the software is free. But the cool thing is, you don't even need one of these microphones to take advantage of some of the other features here. So, like, you can use the sound effects, you can use the system input and the virtual input. You don't necessarily have to have a Rode microphone to do some of the other stuff, system, virtual, and sounds. But if you do have a Rode microphone, there are 5 that it currently supports: the NT USB Mini, the Wireless Go 2 lavalier wireless setup, the Video Mic NTG, the
Mhm.
Video Mic Go 2, which is a newer mic, and then the AI Micro, which allows you to work with audio from your phone, which is really cool. Um, the NT USB Mini was actually for me a replacement, and let me just change my screen 1 minute. All right, so this is the NT USB Mini, kind of
Mhm.
anchored here in front of me. This is the main mic that I use. I mean, you can see it's fits pretty much in the palm of my hand. The output out of it is amazing. It's USB powered microphone. only cost $100. I saw it for like $80 at one point. Actually, I might have bought it for $80, but
It's a super
it
good deal.
yeah, and it's such a good mic. I'm so happy with it. And it's small enough that like if I need to take it with me, I can. It's portable. But I mean, you see, like it literally fits in the palm of my hand. But I upgraded to that from this behemoth back here, which is the Yeti Blue, or the Blue Yeti.
Mhm.
I've had one of these going back to 2014. It's fairly big. Traveling with it wasn't great. In fact, Ryan and I did a podcast at SharePoint Engage a few years back, and I used this for the podcast because you can change
Mhm.
the capture, whether you want it from the front or you want it like 360. So I had one of those and traveled with it, but it's just big, it's bulky, and
You didn't take the whole arm, did you?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
That's nope,
Travel
nope.
with the like a
No, I
dedicated
just took the
suitcase?
microphone. I bought a little travel case on Amazon, like a
Nice.
foam lined case on Amazon, and there's a base that goes to it. And I took that and
Yeah.
traveled with it. But like it's it's a behemoth. But
Mhm.
I wasn't like the audio quality's fine, but I just wanted something a little smaller, a little bit more portable. So that's why I went with this guy. But then the advantage was I got that additional software to go along with it, which is the Rode Connect. And
Mhm.
once you get it set up, all you have to do is tell your system that the input is coming from the Rode Connect, and then whatever your system's using, you can feed that into like a Teams device. So here I see the device settings, and like I can say, well, I want to use
Mhm.
the NT USB Mini, or I can switch that up and say like, well, let's use the Rode Connect system, and now that's going to be the audio that I'm pushing through into Teams. Now I'm still controlling my speaker separately. So going back to our pro tips, I'm using external headphones so that I can monitor. One thing I do need to do with the Rode Connect software is in preferences, I can monitor, so I can set the monitor out, and I've got it set to external headphones, but you've got a couple of different options that you can use there. So I set it to monitor out to my external headphones so that I can hear what the system is picking up and what the system's using.
Mhm.
You can include your microphone in the mix or you can exclude it. I personally don't like to hear myself talk when I'm talking. I just trip over
Yeah.
my words, so I don't turn that on. But then there's some other really cool features built into it. You see, there's a recording option here. Depending on what you want, you can record in stereo or multi-channel. You can change the latency. You can work with like if the appearance and the scaling, but the software has a recorder built in.
Oh, we lost your audio when you clicked on that.
What's that?
You muted when you went to the recording tab, like all your
Uh,
audio cut out.
oh, okay. Well, if you go to the recording tab, you can see all of your previous like recordings. And here's the record
Like
button.
a library of what you've recorded in the past.
Yep, yep. And it
Nice.
just uses local system resources to capture all that. So it's really cool for recording
Mhm.
podcasts. It's really great for voiceovers and stuff. You can just record it right in here and then drop it into whatever post production software that you want to use, and then you're off and running. But the best part is you don't need a Rode mic to use the other features like the system and the
Mhm.
virtual and the sounds. All that stuff's free, but like you can get a Rode mic that's amazing for I've seen it for $80, and it's great. The mic also has a built-in monitor, so I can actually just plug my headphones directly into the mic and just skip all the software and just go directly from the
Mhm.
mic. It's a great little setup. But the Rode Connect software is free. That's what I use. That's how I set it up. So this is how I feed it into my system, and this is how I feed it into Teams. Just a little bit of upfront work, but like once you set it, Teams actually remembers it. It sees custom setup
Mhm.
here. As I work with different setups, it remembers it. So like if I just use the internal mic and speakers, if I'm downstairs or something, it'll pull that up. If I connect my NT USB Mini in it, it knows that. And then if I
Mhm.
want to use the system's there as a custom setup, so I can easily just switch back and forth between all of them.
Yeah. Hans says the video mic go to is also really good. Yeah, that I want to check out another Rode mic at some point. I used to have the Rode Wireless Go 1, like the original one, and it does not work with Rode Connect, so I actually sold it a little while ago. Um, But yeah, I'm looking to get some kind of like one of those newer gen Rode microphones, because Rode quality is really, really good. They have excellent sound quality, and then Rode
Yeah.
Connect is just getting better and better over the months. Like you can see over there along the side, he's got those pads on the right hand side. Those can be sound effects, so you can use those as your sound effects in your thing. Um, and Ryan asked the question, like, what do you use for your soundboard to play the sounds? Are you doing that one, Andy, or are you using your Stream Deck?
I go back and forth. I like the built-in with the Rode. My only thing is like, all right, so I get 8 buttons for the soundboard, like right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like I haven't figured out a hotkey solution for that. So like I have to have this up somewhere, and then I have to like go over and like click on it. But you get 8 screens full of sounds,
Mm-hmm.
and then to add a screen to it or a sound to it, it's really easy. Just use the plus sign, name it, tell it where the sound is, and then you can toggle it on or off. You can loop it or you can replay it. So I use it for all kinds of
Mm-hmm.
cool stuff. Like, so I mentioned the recording I did for 365 EduCon. Here's the intro.
Good morning, Andy. Yes, online prior to the baby's estimated wake-up time this morning.
So as I was just doing that recording, like I had everything kind of queued up, and I just had this sitting here. And so like I used a call out, kind of like what I have here. I said my line in the script, and then I just hit this one, and I just went through the sequence in the script and just recorded it all in one take. Post production was super simple, minutes versus like hours of cut and the timeline and all of that. So it was crazy how easy it was. And I recorded most of these clips just using the recorder right here. So like there's an Azure service that you can take text and convert it to audio. I just played it there and downloaded it, and then or recorded it with the system recorder, and then dropped it in as an audio file, and I was off and running. It was great. But this is the soundboard that I use. There's a really cool piece of equipment from Rode. It's called the Rodecaster Pro. It's a soundboard for XLR microphones. I'm in love with that thing, but I can't justify the cost. It's like $700. It's this, but it's a physical version of this. It's $700 plus the cost of the mics on top of it. I just couldn't justify that. And this is portable because it's software and it's in my computer.
Yeah.
So if I go to a
Your
conference,
M1 can more than handle it.
Exactly. So yeah, go to a conference and you want to do a podcast, you could feed 4 separate mics into this thing. So if I had 4 of the NT USB minis, we could have 4 people having a conversation. I've got 3 mics pretty much set up right now between the wireless Go-2s and the Rode microphone. So like I can use that for a recording scenario, and then this is my soundboard, and we could do like you could run a whole podcast off of this. So this is the Rodecaster Pro. It's just in software form, and it's free. It's great.
Awesome. Thanks for demoing that. Let's see if we can install it on Megan's computer here and walk through setting up Rode Connect, because I think of all of the options, if you're just getting started in virtual microphones, I think Rode Connect is probably my number one choice. It would be what I recommend, because it's a nice UI, it's easy and like simple to understand, simple to use, and most importantly, in my opinion, hardware is optional. You don't have to buy a Rode microphone in order to use the Rode Connect software. So I don't own a Rode microphone right now, but we're going to go as Megan and we're going to try to install this so she can use it to add music to her Teams meeting through a virtual microphone. So we'll just search for Rode Connect on Google or Bing in this case. And we're going through Rode Connect, and she can just download it to her computer. And she's going to download it for Windows. Don't need any beta testing or anything like that. Just put in a fake email address because I don't care. And she's downloading the software. So we're going to insert that, going to open it up and install. And hopefully this works because I'm doing this, through a remote desktop. But I've done this before for our co-working space, and I'll talk about that at Teams Nation next week. How I did this to do chill hop, like lo-fi music, in Teams meetings for a 24/7 meeting. So we're going to run through, hit next a bunch of times to install the Rode Connect software here. And then I'm going to go ahead and quit out of Teams. That way, since I'm changing audio devices, it'll just make life a little bit simpler. So it's installing this virtual audio driver.
Yeah. So one thing to note, they add new microphones to this all the time, and it's not just new Rode microphones. They're gone back and added a couple of older devices, like the Wireless Go 2
Really?
came out before the NT USB Mini, and then they went back and added that. So they do update the firmware in their microphones, and then they update the software to include new mics. So if you have one that's within the last couple of years, there's a chance that it might end up being supported by the Rode Connect software.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. With the NT USB Mini, you've got your condenser USB microphone covered. With the Wireless Go 2, you've got a lavalier option now. And then with the VideoMic NTG and the VideoMic Go 2, you've got your like shotgun microphone
on camera
covered. Yeah.
One of the thing about the Wireless Go 2 is they designed the clip so it'll actually fit on the hot shoe of a camera.
Yeah.
And there's a little cable that they include, so you can run the receiver directly into the camera audio, and you could use that to capture camera. But with the receivers, you can have two separate channels. So you can have, person A and person B, or you can use it for one input source, a left and a right channel, which is really cool. And it's built right into the little thing. Like you can also use it.
Nice. Okay, so it's finished its install. So we're going to hit get started. And then again, hardware is optional with this software. So I don't have any Rode devices that are plugged in. So I'm just going to leave them all blank. We're going to hit next. And then this is where I can do the entire system audio, or I can do just a single virtual channel. And this is the one thing that I don't like about Rode Connect is that this is all you've got. The next option that I'll show you that I use personally, you can have, I think, up to like 12 or something virtual channels. With this one, you've got one. So this is what you would like point Spotify to, or you would point like your YouTube browser or something. So we're going to hit finish. And then now, just like Andy, I've got this little virtual mixer up here. I don't have any of the hardware that he had over on the left-hand side. I've just got the option for these virtual channels. And on Windows, we're going to do things a little bit differently, where we need to map through what's going to go to that virtual channel. And to get this set up, we're going to have to go into the advanced sound settings. So say that we're going to do, this is one of the things that I recommend. So Remarkable, there's the Remarkable tablet. They have this thing called Room to Think, where they host this website that has like this lo-fi chill hop music playing in the background. So you could use this as like your background music for hours during a meeting, or if you're building a virtual co-working space, like I've mentioned, that I'll talk about next week. You can bring this up and you can start playing this music. So I'm going to hit play, and it's playing just this music in the background. I can hear it in my microphone or in my headphones, but Andy can't hear me yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the sound settings. Hopefully you don't hear my 4-year-old screaming right now, Andy.
Just a little bit.
He's having a fit right now for some reason. And then we're going to go down here to app volume and device preferences from the sound settings in Windows. And then we're going to send Microsoft Edge. So you see that I've got nothing is coming through right now in Rode Connect. We're going to send the Microsoft Edge music out to the remote audio. It should say Rode in here somewhere. I wonder if I need to reboot with the computer first. Yeah, because I'm not seeing it in there. Well, dang it. So what you would do is you would select the output of Edge to go to, it would say Rode Connect right here. You click on that, and then what it's going to do is it's going to start showing on the meter right here. It'll start showing that music. And then in Microsoft Teams, you would assign this microphone to that inside of Microsoft Teams. So if I open up Teams next, let's see if it shows up in Teams yet. And then if I click down here in the on the little ... I believe the preferences, this is where you can monitor that. So if you want to hear it through your headphones and as a virtual channel, then you could monitor, and you could say that you want to monitor in your headphones. You would select your headphones there, and then you'll hear it in both places as a monitor. So let's go here to Microsoft Teams. I've got this like super nice music in my head. There's like fire crackling in the background. Here we go. I heard him yell at a controller. I think my son's remote control car must be dead because he's like, stupid controller. All right. So in the devices, what you would do is whenever you go join your meeting, you would select Rode. And yeah, I'm going to have to, I guess, reboot this VM in order to see it. But you would select the Rode Connect stream path. And then that would be your microphone now. So now you can play music in your meeting that way, and you get a nice mix. Now, if you were to add, I'm going to pause this because it's playing in my ear too loud. If you were to add a Rode microphone to the mix, then you would get like what Andy's got, where it can be your microphone in Teams physically, your music as a virtual channel, and your sound effects right here. If I bring this up, you would have your microphone on the left, you'd have your virtual channel, which is your music tracks, and then you would have your soundboard over here on the side, all in one single piece of software. And then that would be your Teams microphone from here on out, if you choose Rode for your hardware to do that. So
I got a bonus one for you. Yep. So let me go back and share. All right. So here's bonus round. All right. So if you have a Rode microphone built into the software, if you go here, it says microphone, and you click on the number for the microphone, it brings up, you can adjust the level manually. So you can dial it in exactly what you want, but it has a noise gate and a compressor built right into it. So this is for the NT USB Mini. So it's got a noise gate and a compressor. It's got an exciter, and then it's got the big bottom, which is that bassy radio voice if you want it. So the NT USB Mini supports that. If I do the Wireless Go 2, I can adjust the level, and then there's a pad option. So I don't get things like the noise compressor and the noise gate and everything. But the noise gate and compressor really help to eliminate background noise. It minimizes, a fan running in the background, or, something buzzing or humming inside of the room. So you can turn that on, and then you can adjust the levels, and it's great. I'm not using it for today. I'm using the Wireless Go 2 lavalier setup, but just click on the number for a hardware device, and it brings those up, and those are built right into the software, and it's really cool.
Nice. Now, before we leave Rode Connect and talk about the next option here, I do want to show you that I finally set up a website. It's collabmore.com, and I'll put this in the chat. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, you'll get this. But I made a blog post the other day. Oh my gosh, something isn't working. Thanks, Wix. Come on now. I made a blog post the other day. Okay, I've got it in the notes. For how to do this Rode Connect without hardware, step by step, all of the buttons that you're going to press in Windows to map. I use Spotify in the blog post to map Spotify over to the microphone, and then use that as your Teams microphone. And then now you can use that as music playback inside of your Teams meeting. So let me grab the link for that real quick here. So copy this, and I'll put that in the chat.
Already gotcha.
There we go. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, there's the link to my blog post about how to do this with Rode Connect but apparently my website's down right now, so that's not cool at all. Yeah. I'm still learning how Wix works. So, okay. So beyond Road Connect, let me show you the thing that I use that we won't be able to do in the remote desktop, because this actually requires hardware. So I use the Elgato stack personally for my stuff, because I have a device called the Wave XLR from Elgato. And the difference between the Road Connect and the Elgato software is Elgato, you actually do need either a Wave 1, a Wave 3, or a Wave XLR physically connected to the computer in order for the software to run. There's actually like a chip or something on the hardware that is required for it to run. But their software is called Wavelink. If I put that over here on my screen, it looks kind of similar to Road Connect, but a little bit different, where again, you've got all of your channels right here along the middle. With this software, you've got the ability to add more channels. And then at the bottom, you have what your output is. So you have two outputs. You have your monitor mix, and then you have the stream mix. What you guys are listening to right now, that's my stream mix. So I have my Wave XLR, that's the microphone input that I have, and I can name it. I can adjust the gain on it. And then, like what Andy was showing off, I have a low cut filter. So I can take some of that low buzz out of it. I have something called Clip Guard built into this hardware, where if I talk too loud, it will prevent me from clipping. It will kind of push it down. And then the Wave Gain Lock. This is really helpful, where inside of Microsoft Teams, inside of other software, the software will adjust your gain up and down dynamically. If you don't want that to happen, if you want to control what your gain is, you can turn that on, and then it won't adjust your gain automatically for you. So that's my settings for that. But then I can add additional channels and point those to applications. So if I click add audio input right here, if I click on that, I just select an app that is running. So if I wanted to play YouTube or something like that, I could click Microsoft Edge. And then now anything that I play in Microsoft Edge is going to come through on its own channel right there. So, and I can remove that input. And I believe you can have like, it's something like up to 10 or 12 different channels on here. If I scroll over, so I don't even think I have enough channels running in order to get there. I think it's like 10 or 12, but that's a lot. And then you can adjust the volume for those individual applications. So, okay, Joe, Joe says, FYI, I can bump that low cut filter up to 120 hertz from 80 hertz. I will do that, Joe. Joe's our AV expert, AV architect in our campus technologies team at Cerner. So I am going to adjust that for you, Joe. Boom. There we go. So, but I can set these settings here, and then I can adjust how much I hear in my microphone versus how much I hear in my headphones, or like what the stream would hear. So if I open up Spotify, and I'm going to open up, so one of the things that I recommend is Harris Heller. He has stream beats. So in Spotify or in whatever you want, you can have stream beats, and then I can play this music and you can hear it. I hear it really loud in my headphones right now, but you guys probably hear it fairly quietly, and I can turn it down even more so that you just kind of barely hear it on your side, and I'm talking over the top of it with kind of this background track. And this is YouTube safe music because it's Stream Beats by Harris Heller. It's all YouTube safe stuff that you can use and not worry about getting like a copyright strike or something like that. So that's how I would get music through my Microsoft Teams virtual microphone. How I do my sound effects, so like if I hit the Mario 1-up, you're going to see this sound effects kind of jump up. It's going to get green right here whenever it plays that audio. That is my Stream Deck. So Ryan, to answer your question earlier about what do you use for a soundboard, I use my Stream Deck for that. And of course that opened on the wrong screen. So I have a folder on my Stream Deck right here that if I go in and I have this little like wave folder right there. If I click on that, there's a bunch of these sound effects. And these are just audio files on my computer that I say, like, when I press this button, I want it to play this Wii music in the background. And then that will play through on track number 3 in the Elgato Wavelink software. So if I press like the boom one right here, I'm going to physically press that second button. And you see that now it did that big like explosion sound in the background. And this is a long sound, so it's kind of fading out over like 10 seconds. And I can even pause and play in that. So like I have a dial-up sound. This is like 13 seconds long. I can press it to start playing that like dial-up mode sound, and I can click it again to cut it off halfway through. So this is a pause and play toggle, or I can tell it to fade in and out in the software. Click off and click back on. For some reason, that's not wanting to open. But you can play pause, you can play stop, so it starts over at the beginning again, and you can choose to fade or not fade, and you can even control the volume for that particular sound separately of everything else. So that's how I'm doing my stuff. I really like it because it's easy to understand for my brain. It makes a lot of sense to me. It works great with my Stream Deck because I have all of my shortcuts and everything. And then I like that I can have multiple channels in there. The downside, though, is that it requires hardware to be plugged in. You like if I take my laptop and I go on campus, I don't take my Wave XLR with me. I can't do music and Teams meetings now because I don't have that physical piece of hardware plugged in. Where Andy, you can travel a lot lighter weight with your Rode Connect because you don't need to have those microphones plugged in order to use Rode.
Right.
So that's Elgato Wavelink. The third option on this list that I've got is Loopback, which this is a software from Rogue Amoeba that is really, really cool. But the downside is it's really expensive. I'll just bring up the website to show you guys like what it looks like here. So Rogue Amoeba. And this is a Mac only software. So the downside is it's Mac only. It's also $100 for the software, but it's really, really intuitive and really powerful. It's called Loopback. So you install this on your computer, and then you can create as many virtual microphones as you want by creating a new Loopback session. And then you can route specific applications, specific hardware, or MIDI devices if you want to, and then also like entire system sound. And you can route that into these virtual channels. You can have stereo or mono, whatever you want, 5.1 surround. And you can even put in between different effects and things like that to add a compressor, a noise gate, stuff like that. So that is Loopback for creating virtual audio and routing audio in a visual way. And then you can just see how it says virtual mic for Zoom right here? You would set that as your Teams microphone for your meeting, and then it would have all of this routing applied to that microphone for you. So, and Andy asked a question in YouTube. You guys are on PC. What do you guys use on the other side? I imagine that one of the things that people are going to say is VB audio, which is something called Voice Meter Banana or virtual audio cables. So this is another option moving down the list here, which is free. So it's not $100 like Loopback is, but in my opinion, it's complicated. Maybe I'm just not smart enough, but there are a ton of YouTube videos about Voice Meter Banana. And I know it's really popular, especially for OBS users to use for this because you can route your audio any way you want and it doesn't cost any money. So Voice Meter, this is what it looks like. Again, you have kind of a virtual mixer, and then you're going into your Windows settings to route that audio to those different channels so that now you can have like your microphone on one channel, your music on one channel, your sound effects on the third channel, and then pipe all of that into your Teams meeting if you want to. But Voicemeeter is another one of those options. And virtual audio cable actually has a Mac version now. So the last time I looked at this, it was only available for Windows users, but it looks like May of last year, it's available now, and it supports the Apple Silicon if you are running an M1 device. So that's pretty nice. Have you tried VB Audio yet, Andy?
I have not.
I'm a little bit worried to install it personally because like I've got a good thing with Elgato going. I don't really want to ruin it, by installing something else. So, but that's an option out there. I'm curious if anybody, let me know in the chat if you use one of these options and what you think about it, especially if you have a good guide that you know about for using Voicemeeter, let me know and we can share that out because I have trouble with it. I think it's complicated to use personally. There is a link though that I want to share that Andy, if you want to drop that in the chat or I can do it, where somebody said, hey, what do you use for OBS audio in Microsoft Teams? There's a thread out there on the OBS website, and everybody's recommending that virtual audio cable for Mac and PC. So that's kind of how we stumbled into it. So that's that option. And then another option that you have, if you want to use OBS and you want to have your OBS camera and your OBS audio go into a Teams meeting, is you can use NDI for that. So I'm going to open up my OBS and show you guys what that looks like. This is in the NDI tools. So if you go to the NDI website and you download all of the NDI tools, you have to put in your email address and then they'll email you a link to the download page. But I've got this running here with OBS. I've got this scene and I can make that my virtual camera. I can start this camera and I can make that my camera inside of Microsoft Teams. The problem is I don't get audio by doing this. The way I can get my audio and my video going through into Teams is by not using the virtual camera. So I'm going to turn off the virtual camera and instead I'm going to use under tools. If you install the OBS NDI plugin for OBS, you'll get this NDI output underneath your tools menu. If I click on that, I can take the output. So what you're seeing on my screen, I can call that obs.mac or I can call it whatever I want. And then I'm now projecting this over NDI on my network. So then on my computer, I can have the NDI app called NDI Virtual Out or Virtual Input. And that gives me a camera and microphone that I can use. So if I select NDI at the very top, it's going to see my computer available. And there's that stream that I'm sending out from OBS. So I can select that. Then I can go in and I'm going to go into Teams here real quick and just go into a safe place here before I show my Teams window. I can go into my Teams window, go into devices right here. And then under my microphone, I would select NDI audio right there, NDI. And for my camera, if I scroll down, instead of my camera, I select NDI video. And now I've got the audio and the video for OBS going into Teams. And now if I add music to my OBS scene, or if I add sound effects to my OBS scene, I'm capturing a microphone, stuff like that. You're basically doing your Teams meeting as if it was a live stream, and then you're just using the OBS mixture that you've got. This gives you the ability also to add sound effects or like compressors, VSTs is what they're called. So audio plugins is the word I'm looking for. You can add those plugins to your microphone in OBS, use NDI as your virtual microphone, and then you're good to go. You do have a lot of headroom by running OBS and NDI and Teams all at the same time. On an M1 MacBook, I'm not worried about it at all because it's really powerful. So that's how you can do it with OBS getting into your Teams meeting.
So this is a good time to mention just a couple of things. Phil brings up
Mhm.
a really good point in the chat window. As soon as we
Yeah.
start adding virtual interfaces and audio apps, it gets complicated. You're adding to the complexity. And I tried to show that a little bit with setting up the Rode Connect. I had to feed the Rode Connect
Mhm.
into the system audio, and then the system audio, I have to feed that into the application. So if there's
Mhm.
an issue anywhere, I have multiple places that I need to go and troubleshoot to be able to potentially
Yeah.
resolve that issue. So you're adding complexity to it. The other thing, and this is something you kind of touched on, but just people need to be aware of, a hardware interface and a software interface. It's how you're going to interact with that during the course of an event can really impact the flow of the event. With a hardware interface, one button. Now I've switched over to something new. Now I've switched back. Now I'm just doing this for a web, my camera,
Mhm.
but that's a physical thing. Like I don't even technically have to look at it. I can just kind of, place my hand over there. I know where it is, push it, and then I can go on. Kind of like if you're in the car and you've got a touch
Mhm.
screen versus a dial. I'd rather have a dial to adjust the volume than a touch screen, so I have to take my eyes off the road. Same thing here. So if I can run something through a physical device like the Stream Deck or an 8
Mhm.
Mini or some kind of physical button, I don't necessarily have to look at it in order to be able to make that change and move over seamlessly. The virtual interfaces, on the other hand, I have to have it on a screen somewhere. I have to mouse over to it, which means it's taken away from maybe the presentation that I'm on, and it's just adding, a couple seconds. But if I'm switching back and forth
Mhm.
constantly, and I'm trying to add sound effects, and I'm talking, my attention's going to go somewhere else, and then I'm over here, and then that thing happens, and like it just adds to the
Mhm.
workflow. So um, I like adding a physical device to it. So, like you were showing with the Stream Deck, having buttons set up for some of the audio. If I could map
Yeah.
the interface in the Rode Connect software, the sound effects to the Stream Deck, that would be great. If I can hotkey it and then run like a
Mhm.
macro on it, I can run it through Stream Deck. That's super helpful. But I did want to kind of bring this up since you're talking about some of the different interfaces. Let me just share this desktop here. All right.
Mhm.
So, all right. So, when you're talking about some of the interfaces, there's some alternatives to like a physical Stream Deck. One of the big ones in the OBS
Mhm.
world is the Lorian board and Lorian board 2, the new update to it. This thing is crazy powerful. Only thing is, I can't use it because I'm on a Mac, and right now they only run it for Windows. So for those of you that are on
Mm.
Windows, this is a great tool to check out because you can basically build your own macro super powered interface to do all kinds of things. Whether it's transitioning
Yeah.
between scenes in OBS or playing a video or launching, a website or copying and pasting in text or, interacting with Twitch and YouTube. This thing is crazy powerful. I wish I had it for the Mac. So I would definitely check that out. But then there's also a couple other virtual ones. Just want to kind of point out, and I'll post the link to this site, Touch Portal. You can use your smartphone and
Mhm.
create kind of a free little Stream Deck on your phone, and then you just like have the device up and running during the event. And press the virtual button, and you can execute commands off of it. There's a few different versions of that. What was the other one? Streamlabs Deck. You've got that one out there. Stream Deck
Mhm.
Mobile, you got to pay for this one. You get 30 days to try it out, and it's like $3 or $4 a month, something like that. But you can use your
Mhm.
mobile for that. So there's a whole bunch of them, and then like you could just use like a, a keyboard. Like if you have like the numbers thing or whatever, you could set up hotkeys on something like that. And the cool thing is like
Yeah.
OBS supports all of that. So like let me just pull up my OBS settings here, bring that into the window. So in OBS, I can go down to hotkeys and I can hotkey just about anything. I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about OBS here all the time. It's free. The stuff that you can do with it's absolutely amazing, but you're adding some complexity to it. But you can hotkey just about anything here, whether it's commands that are global or whether it's things that are specific to a scene that you want to launch, show or hide an animation, play, start and stop a video, play a sound. You can hotkey all of that right into like a scene and then use it as part of your streaming experience. Or in our case, supplementing something like like a training. Like for example, I am like I'm using my virtual cam right now in OBS to input here because of the screen sharing issue from earlier. But like, here's a welcome screen that I use. Well, I could have it set to automatically play when I switch into it. And then I could also have audio on or off, like when I go into it, just switching back and forth, like between scenes. So this one's free. But the larger point is like when you start using the virtual interfaces, sometimes it's helpful to add in a physical device if you can, a keyboard shortcut, a macro on the keypad, a stream deck or something else, just so that you can easily switch back and forth and have that seamless experience and keep the flow of things going.
Yeah. Speaking about interfaces, the two that I've got, you talked about the ATEM Mini and being able to switch your audio using those physical buttons. What I used to do whenever I was like traveling around, doing these live events in like different conference rooms and things like that, is using the ATEM Mini. There's two inputs on this, so you have a mic 1 and a mic 2. You can even go as simple as just literally plugging your phone headphone jack into one of these microphone inputs and then having that be your music input. With the ATEM, you basically can mix that up. So you can have your microphone, you can have your phone plugged into input number 2, and then now you've got a mixture between the two. And then you can just turn off mic 2 whenever you don't want the music, turn on mic 2 when you want to hear music or you want to play music in your meeting. That's another option that's available for you. It's kind of overkill because of everything else. But if you're going down the path of like my cameras and everything like that, you do have that option that you could just use a phone or an MP3 player. And then I used to also have one of these that I bought at Micro Center for like $7, where you can have a USB sound card, plug that into your computer, and then again plug your phone or whatever audio that has your music on it. You can plug that into it, and then you use that as a source in your OBS or inside of Microsoft Teams. The thing with this though is you would have to switch from that source as your microphone to your actual microphone when you wanted to start the meeting and start talking. So it's a little bit too much switching, in my opinion. I think this is probably ranks lower, in my opinion, than just system audio sharing. I probably would say of the three main ways you can do audio in Teams, you got your system audio sharing, your virtual microphones, and then your hardware options. In my opinion, I think the virtual microphone is best. It gives you the most flexibility and safety because you can have your microphone be one of those channels. The second one is for complexity reasons. System audio sharing is just really good to go with when you're new to this. Third would be the hardware option because of the whole switching back and forth. So I would kind of rank the hardware last. I would rank the virtual microphones top, and then I would graduate. I would start with system audio, and then I would graduate to virtual microphones when you're ready for it or you feel like you want to kind of do something a little bit cooler with sound effects. That's just my own opinion on that.
Yeah.
So I think the only other thing to talk about, Andy, is we talked about how we do our sound effects and music. The last thing I have on my list is where do we get our music and sound effects, or what do we use for our meetings, for our trainings, stuff like that. Do you have any that you recommend? And I can throw them on screen here.
Well, Bob, just real quick before we dive into that, let me
Sure.
share my desktop one last time, and I'll
Okay.
just
Yeah.
switch this over real quick.
Yeah. Let me
All
take
right,
this
so
one
you should
away.
see this.
Whoops.
Yep.
There we go.
All right,
Yeah.
and so I'm just going to quickly go into a Teams meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't do in yours. I can't do well. I'll just show the PowerPoint. So this is where it comes together for me. So like this is kind of like showing like what I do.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm doing like a waiting room like based scenario, I will create a PowerPoint. I will drop in a video. I've got the video playback. set to loop until it's stopped, and then start automatically when I go into the presenter view. That'll do audio and video, and I play that as the welcome room or the lobby waiting room screen. And so right away, we get motion in the background, and then I'm not playing any audio on this particular
That's
one,
cool looking.
but it just lets
But you could
people
have
know,
like
hey,
elevator music on that video or something like
yep,
that, and you're
yep,
getting both motion and audio.
yep, audio and video check lets people know when it's starting. I'll do that
Mhm.
for like in a PowerPoint based scenario. So you like PowerPoint Live, it works really really well. But then for a like a workshop or something that's going to be in a hybrid scenario, I'll use OBS for that. So like I just have a simple scene set up. Showed this one a little bit earlier, but you've got in this case audio, video, and I did a countdown timer. Showed this in previous sessions that we've done, but this is just really helpful for people to know, hey, when we're going to start, people that are online can see what's going on, people that are in the room can actually see what's going on, and then it's just a matter of like switching it up to the next thing, like, hey, we're getting ready to start.
Mhm.
And I've got one with this lower third tool built into it, so
Mhm.
just drop that in, and little things like that. But like
That's
I'll
really
use
nice.
like OBS for more of that kind of scenario, um to handle the hybrid thing. So that's how like all this stuff that we've been talking about here today. That's just an example of how it starts to come together,
Mhm.
and some of the place where I'll actually use it. And like depending on what I'm trying to do, I'll add in sound effects through the audio, and then I'll use the system audio for videos and stuff. But I try
Mhm.
to push most of it through Teams, and sometimes I'm feeding directly from OBS, and sometimes I'm feeding from the Road Connect software. And even then, one last thing I'll mention
Yeah.
about that, and let me actually, I'm going to do, let me do desktop, and this is going to be very meta, but so like this is my OBS tool. So when I'm in here, I have audio sources as well. So I have a whole audio panel. Um, uh, it's just hold on, it's showing.
Yeah, it's showing just the output from there.
All right, hold on. I will fix that. 1 second. Well, no, that's not going to work. If I let me do this. All right, this will work. All right. So this is the OBS tool, and like I can go in and I can say,
Mhm.
well, do an audio input capture, and I've got a whole bunch already set up. I can actually
Mhm.
just feed Road Connect into OBS, and then OBS into Teams through that workflow. And then like if I want my Root Connect software on this particular scene, there it is. I can mute, I can unmute, hotkeys and everything, and I can just feed it right
Mhm.
through that particular scene, which is really helpful.
Nice.
All right.
Oh,
Now,
another thing that we forgot to mention before we go to like where we get our music is music mode, high fidelity music mode. Phil asked, so if you have music mode on in Teams, is that going to help the audio quality in Road Connect? And we did a little bit of research beforehand, and I know that it works for microphones, but what I was unsure about was if it would also increase your system audio to sound better. And the answer is, according to this tech community article that I will put in the chat here. So let me go back here and paste that in. Um, According to this article, it's both your microphone channel and your VBSS or your screen sharing audio. So whether you're doing system audio or a virtual microphone or just even your physical microphone and you're like playing guitar in front of your microphone, it's going to optimize and make that sound better than it would have if you don't turn on music mode. If you guys haven't seen music mode, to quickly show you how to turn it on, you're going to turn it on in two places. You're going to enable it in your team's settings and then enable it for the meeting. So we're going to go into the settings for Megan Bowen here. She's going to go to devices And then this is rolling out currently, so you may not have this, or you hopefully do have it, but you'll have this option for high fidelity music mode. Turn that on, and that's going to give you a music note in your team's meetings. So now whenever she goes in and she joins this meeting here, she's going to have the option to make her music sound a little bit better. And in my opinion, it's kind of like going from like an AM radio to an FM radio. It's noticeable enough that like I definitely use it if I'm going to play music in a Teams meeting. So she's going to go in, she's going to join this meeting, and then she's going to have a music note at the top of her meeting command bar right here. There we go. So there's that music note. That's high fidelity audio. So if you're creating like a co-working space or something like that, and you're going to be playing like lo-fi chill hop music for hours and hours on end, it's just going to be music environment. Do your virtual microphone, use Rode Connect, get your music in there, turn on that music note so it gets lit up, and now you're going to bump up that quality a little bit better. Up to, I think, what was there, to 92 kilohertz? Is that what they said?
You just passed it. Yeah.
Where was it here? Frequency range, the low end range, or the kilobits per second. What is it here? They've got the numbers for like what it expects, but I think it's something from like 8 kilobits to like 90
Supports,
something kilobits, right?
32 kilohertz sampling rate at 128 kilobits per second when the network bandwidth allows.
128.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess there's still a chance that you could get throttled, right? Because like as network bandwidth allows, but you're gonna have a better chance of it sounding good if you enable this high fidelity audio mode. So yeah, that answers that question about music mode. Now, where we get our music, or where we get our sound effects and things like that, personally, what I use is I use Stream Beats for all of my music. So if it's going to be music, it's going to be Stream Beats for me. You can download these tracks. You can get it on Apple Music, or you can get it on Spotify or Amazon Music. So it's really accessible and it's really safe to use. So I really like that. There's a ton of different genres. For my drop-in rooms or my like co-working spaces that I've created, I like Room to Think. Again, that's the thing where it's like you're creating, or you're just going to share like this browser and system audio. You can get it all in one, and you can do a really easy co-working space that way by just hitting play. Again, this is free music that you can use. It's just like a radio track. And then something that got added to Stream Deck software, so the Elgato Stream Deck, is Pretzel. It's pretzel.rocks. This is tens of thousands of songs as well that are YouTube safe and Twitch safe, so you can use them in your meetings. They've again got like lo-fi, EDM, stuff like that. The thing with this is it's free up to a point, and then there is a premium. So you get like a number of tracks for free, or the library expands if you start paying for it. And then the fourth place that I get music, or where I get my sound effects from, is from the Stream Deck software itself. If you click on the library right here, you can open that up, or the Stream Deck store. And then you can go down in the store to music. And there's, again, like tens of thousands of tracks that you're going to download and add them as a button to your Stream Deck so you can play songs. Or you can get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, however many it is, of sound effects. If you need like a record scratch or something like that, you're going to download from the store for free and then add it as a button to your Stream Deck. So that's where I get my stuff. Andy, what else do you use?
So I'll bring up my screen here. All right, so I'm going to start off with one. With some of the stuff that I do, I kind of create a virtual Jarvis. And one of the things that I really like doing is not doing my own voiceovers, but using computer-based voiceovers. So Microsoft has an Azure cognitive services tool called text-to-speech. I use this for a lot of stuff. It's actually really helpful. But basically, you can go in, you can um, drop in your text, copy and paste. You can choose the voice that you want to use. You can also choose like the speaking style for that voice, the speaking speed. You can speed it up, and then you can also adjust things like the pitch, and you can get a real time playback of it. So you can sample stuff there, which is really fun to just kind of play around with. But then you can also record it, and then you can like use it for virtual voiceovers and interactivity. You just got to play around with the speed and the pitch to get something that sounds a little bit more natural. And then some of the users support some different like styles and some different languages, which is really cool. So we'll post this into the chat if anybody's interested in that. But I like playing around with voiceovers there just because it gives something different to whatever I'm recording or presenting on. Another one that I use is in YouTube, the audio library. With the audio library, these are free for use. You don't have to worry about your channel getting flagged or your video getting flagged, or because they're part of the YouTube experience. So you can download them and you can use them right from there. You can add that as part of what you do. There's music, there's sound effects, and then you can also keep track of the things that are your favorites. That was a free one, so I like that one. And then there's like a lot of the different like services, like Storyblocks, for instance. They have some free stuff that you can take advantage of, but you might have to create an account there. Audacity, I think, has some free stuff that you can use. Bunch of free libraries out there. And then there's one you showed me. I'm not going to play anything from it, but I really like it a lot. And that's the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm a big Mario
for Mario
fan.
effects.
Yeah, I've spent a little too much time in here going through all the different effects. Like if you go from the home page, like I mean, you can just drill down in here for hours and pull down play sound effects. But I would not recommend putting them in YouTube videos because Nintendo's probably going to come after your channel if you do.
Can relive your childhood though, listening to old Nintendo songs. Yeah.
So it just depends on what I'm presenting at the time and the audience, and if it's going to be recorded and played later on. But those are just a couple that I like to play around with and get some cool sound effects.
Awesome. Well, let me see if we got any more chat here. No, we just put in that text to speech stuff. I think, is there anything else that you can think of, Andy?
Just be mindful of Teams meeting recordings audio quality. It's a little lower than the live streaming audio quality. You might want to take advantage of secondary audio recording if the fidelity is not where you want a Teams meeting recording. I know that's kind of a work in progress. I've seen some people that have had some issues with that, especially after the fact.
It records at like 8 kilobits per second or something, right? Even if you're using high fidelity music mode. Yeah.
Okay.
But so that would be another case where you might want to use like OBS or something to run your meeting like as a show and then put it into Teams. It's because then you could record locally in OBS. If you're like, if say you're a musician or a performer and you're doing a Teams performance, or you're teaching like music lessons, it's not going to be as good if you use the Teams recording. So record it locally and then put it into Teams. You're going to have something a little bit more usable if the quality of the audio is important. So good ideas. Cool. Yep. Well, I think that's about it for this month then. I put our little Twitter handles on there. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at John_Moore and Andy's at Andy Honeycutt on Twitter. And we'll see let us know in the chat again, or in a comment if you're watching this on demand, what else you want to hear next time in our little live streams that we do. We finally have kind of branded this 365 deep dive to talk about or define that this is what we do. We're doing like kind of open-ended. Let's just try a bunch of stuff in Teams. Let's do a bunch of research and then bring what we found to the live stream. and let you guys, the audience, point things in different directions. If there's a question, or like Chris earlier was like, hey, what about, sharing an app window, but then something else plays audio, like being able to test that stuff live is kind of what we're all about here. So we're 365 deep dive. If you have ideas for shows in the future, let us know. Hopefully we'll be back for a April live stream. As I said, I'm starting a new job on the 28th. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I think the big thing for whether or not I can stream in April, Andy, is whether or not I get my old laptop back so that I can go get a Mac Studio and then set up, the live streaming stuff on it. I may not have the Mac Studio by then, so we'll see. Because like I'll just have like the new corporate device that I get from them. So
we were
we'll
kind of
play it by ear.
brainstorming a little bit for the next episode, teams, the missing features. So we saw a couple of threads recently on like the Twitter that we thought were kind of interesting. So if you have show ideas, that's definitely something to send our way through our social media. But we were thinking about the team's missing features. What are some things you want? And maybe we can find some creative ways to bring those features into
to kind of bolt them on.
Into teams. So
we got one here, one idea, which is, have you seen anything on Teams meetings RTMP stream feature that was due in January? I don't think it's GA yet. I think it might be in the rolling out phase, but I have seen it in preview in an R4 tenant before. So like when I was scheduling a live event, there was the option for like Teams encoding, and then it had said preview next to it. So if I can get that in my new Contoso environment that I just stood up, maybe we could put that on the list, Andy, as like exploring the new Teams RTMP encoding rather than Stream RTMP encoding, and we kind of play with that. We've also got LinkedIn Live coming from Teams that kind of came out for a while there, like the end of fall. We could maybe talk about RTMP out, RTMP in, options like that as well. So I think we're going to see a lot of cool things this spring in the live event space with Teams, where we can try out some advanced RTMP stuff. This is good. Teams meeting invites with shared mailboxes. That's a good tricky one. That was like a common thing at Cerner, where like people always want to send it from a shared mailbox, and it's causing all kinds of problems. We can maybe talk about that. Might have to get like an Exchange admin on to talk about the mailbox side of things, because I got confused. I mostly was just, hey, tell people to not do it because like they don't get a conference ID and stuff like that.
The one that I get that's related to that
set up a
is
second
channel
profile.
meetings and getting actual invites sent to everybody from channel meetings. There's a manual way to do it, and then there's a way that you can do it through Power Automate. So maybe we can go down the rabbit hole of meeting invites.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That's good ideas, folks. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap it up and eat some lunch here. It's noon. It's 1:00 for you, Andy. So
yep.
Awesome. Yeah. Maybe we can get Steve Goodman involved. Talk about the shared mailboxes. That's a really good idea. I'll write that down.
Just made note of it. Awesome.
Yeah, and JB's got a workaround that might help us out. Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks again, and next time I see you, I'll be a different man
on the other side.
Yep. It's scary, man. I'm 15 years at one place, and moving on. It's a big change, so I'm nervously excited about it. But all right. Take care, everybody. Everybody watching the Cerner, thanks so much, and keep following us here, and we'll keep doing what we're doing. So, hope you have a great weekend.
Everybody.
Bye.